bakers! This is a little late, but happy Rosh Hashanah. I really wanted to bake something that celebrated the Jewish New Year. Full disclaimer, I am not Jewish, so I do apologize if I get anything wrong. This is all Google and YouTube researched. And we all know how accurate that can be at times. So like a lot of holidays, food is a big part of Rosh Hashanah. One of the most popular Rosh Hashanah customs involves eating apple slices dipped in honey, sometimes after saying a special prayer. Ancient Jews believed apples had healing properties and honey signifies a hope that the new year will be sweet. I decided to bake a Jewish apple cake which uses apples and honey. Honestly, a Jewish apple cake is one of the most forgiving cakes you can make. You don't even need a mixer for it. And even if you overbake it a little, the apples keep the cake magically moist. Challah bread is also served on Rosh Hashanah. I did not realize when I filmed this video that for Rosh Hashanah, the traditional shape for challah is round and not normally a braid. But I will leave a link in the description below for how to shape the 6-strain challah and also the round Rosh Hashanah shaped challah. This is everything that you will need for the Jewish apple cake. I will leave the metrics and the cup measures in the description below. So I did make this Jewish apple cake in my mixer, but honestly, you can mix it also by hand. I just happen to have my mixture out because I had made the challah. You're going to put together the sugar with the oil and the eggs. Now add the vanilla extract and mix everything well for about 1 minute. Now you're going to add the salt and the baking powder to the flour and mix all the dry ingredients together well. Now you're ready to add the orange juice and the flour mixture to the egg mixture. Once everything is added, mix well. Put your cake batter aside while you prepare the apples. Peel and slice your apples and then combine them with sugar, cinnamon, and a little bit of honey. As with a lot of my cakes, this is a very large cake, so be sure you're using an 18-cup tube pan. Be sure you grease and flour this pan very well. You can also use parchment on the sides and the bottom. Now that your pan is ready, you can start layering your cake. You start with a layer of batter and then a thin layer of apples, and then a layer of batter, and a layer of apples, and so on and so forth. Be sure not to use too many apples. I have made this mistake before, and it does make this cake too wet. I always end with the thinnest layer of batter right on top of the apples with the apples still peeking through a little. And then I like to use a little decorating sugar on top. It just gives it a little extra sparkle. And who doesn't like a little extra sparkle? Bake in a 350-degree oven for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. Be sure and cool this cake in the pan for 30 minutes before you turn it out onto a wire rack. Give this cake about 4 hours before you slice it. It actually does taste much better the next day. This is everything that you will need for 2 large loaves of challah. The first thing you need to do is bloom your active dry yeast in warm water. Stir well and let sit for about 5 minutes until it's all nice, light, and foamy. To start, you're going to add your bloomed yeast to a standing mixer attached with a dough hook. Now you're going to add your honey to the mixture. Add your eggs and oil to the mixture and beat well. Start adding your flour to the egg mixture 1 cup at a time. Once you have half of your flour in, then add your salt to your mixture. You never want to add salt directly to yeast. The flour will act as a barrier. This is done this way because salt can kill yeast, but if done the correct way, salt will control the growth of yeast, which will give you your desired crumb in your bread. I decided to add some dried fruit and almonds to one of the challahs. Challah is a great bread for optional ingredients such as dried fruit and nuts and even chocolate. It is always a good idea to hand knead your bread for the last minute or so. This way you can check to make sure the dough is not too dry or not too wet. Now that your dough is all mixed and kneaded, it will take about 2 hours to rise in a warm place. I never believe in rushing dough with rapid rise yeast. You want to give the dough enough time to develop a good flavor and texture. Good bread takes time. Once your dough has risen, you will divide each half of your dough into 6 strands, each strand being 21 inches long. Mike and I thought it would be a nice idea to braid the challah together as a loving couple. We found out challah braiding is better done alone. Please enjoy the next clip, which will not teach you how to braid challah, but will probably entertain you. I will leave a link in the description below on how to properly braid 6-strand challah.
I know. No, don't touch it. No, that's fine. We'll move it. We'll have to do the rest of it anyway. All right. So you need to have 2 over here. 2 over there, too. So, sweetie, let's just run the video. Mike? I'm pretty sure. Mike, you've done it before. I'm pretty sure it goes like this. And this one comes here. This one goes over here. Yep. And then this one comes here. Yep, and that one. Yep. Okay, this one. But anyway, this one comes here. Yep. And that. Yep. Challah bread, easy. Okay. Well, this one goes here. Yep. This one goes here. That one comes down. Sorry. This one. Oh, hang on, stop. Okay. Yep, outer one comes over here. Outer one, this one. That's the second one. Move this into, that goes there, yep. And then this one comes over here. This one comes down for this one. And then the outside one comes all the way over. She's the outside one, that's not the outside. It is the outside. The outside one on these 2, okay? I'm only worried about these 2. That comes down here now. The outside one comes over here. This one comes down here. And then the outside one, which is that one, comes over there, yep. And then how many more do you want to do? Guess what you do? Okay. Yep. This comes way over there. This comes over here. And that one comes over yonder. That looks nice. It does. The other one looks like that. I don't know why.
After you have braided your challah, you will then place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet and cover them loosely with a piece of greased plastic wrap. Then you will leave them in a warm place to rise. This normally takes about 2 hours. I do apologize, but I did forget to video the next step. Once your braids have risen for 2 hours, you will then brush them with an egg wash made with a whole egg and a little bit of water. You will then put them in a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. Be sure and check your bread after 30 minutes to make sure it is not getting too dark. If it's getting too dark, then tent it loosely with foil. Once it's done baking, cool completely on a wire rack. I hope you enjoyed my special Rosh Hashanah baking video. Please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Be sure you hit the notification bell so that you will know when I have a new video out. Happy baking!